an earlier video, we saw how to do a motion graphic in which we panned across an image. Of course, whenever we do a motion graphic, we have to have a reason. In this video, we're going to add a zoom after the pan so that our audience can focus on a specific portion of the image, in this case, the ports at the back of the iMac 27. I've opened the new project in Final Cut Express, renamed the sequence, and done the necessary system settings. I've also imported the image I want to use and dragged it onto my timeline. Next, I'm going to double-click the image to bring it into the viewer. Whatever changes I now make, I'll be able to see in the canvas. I'll begin by clicking the Motion tab, which will give me access to the keyframes for both setting the scale and the center, that is, the location of the image. In the first part of my motion graphic, I want the image to move from left to right. Just a reminder, there's 3 steps to creating motion. Move the playhead to where the action starts, set a keyframe, and then change the attribute you wish to modify over time. I'll start by making sure that the playhead is at the beginning of the clip. And now I'll add the keyframes. Then I'll set the starting attributes. In this case, the location of the image and its scale. To set the location, I'll drag the image to where I want it to be when the action starts. Next, I'll move the playhead to where I want it to be when the action stops. Set another keyframe and set the new attribute. In this case, the location. Again, I'll drag the image. I'm also going to set a keyframe at this location for the scale, even though I'm not changing it. We'll see why in just a moment. I want the action to pause before I start my zoom, so I'll move the playhead to where the zoom should start. Another way of thinking of this is to move the playhead to where the pause stops. There are 2 ways of describing the same thing. Again, I'll set the keyframes for the scale and the center. Next, I'll move the playhead to where the zoom should stop, set a keyframe, and adjust the scale. I can use either the scale slider in the Motion tab or drag the handles of the image in the viewer. Changing the scale affects the location of the image, so I'll drag it until I'm showing the detail I want my viewers to focus on, in this case, the ports at the back. And I may have to go back and forth a little bit, adjusting the scale and the center until I've got things the way I need them. Next, let's take a look at what we have. I'll return the playhead to the start of the clip. If I had to do any rendering, this would be a good time. Or, if I'm in a hurry, I could just hold down Option P and play without rendering. After I see what I've got, I can do any necessary fine-tuning, and of course, that means moving the playhead again, adding more keyframes, and changing more attributes. The main thing to remember in this process, as I've been emphasizing, is that when you create motion, you have to keep in mind the order in which you make changes. First, move the playhead, then set a keyframe, and then change the attribute. There are lots of attributes that Final Cut Express lets you modify, and the best way to learn what they do is to experiment.